as they say, a wipe. Whoa, 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 put on the brakes, put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, pufties, bung-eyed heifers, right and left, wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, to another version of It's News to Us. And you are, and little dogs too. Oh, okay, little dog.
He's not so little anymore, is he?
Oh, that fat bastard.
He's getting chunky. That boy's getting chunky.
Yeah, I'll be glad when spring comes so I can take them both down, run them at the river. Thanks, Philo. You're watching It's News to Us. And
Hello.
It's News to Us. We are Newport's oldest TV news. What's this new? Hell new brown cow, as the locals say. We get adult themes and adult language, supposedly. I just have to warn you, but...
Well, just keep going.
Yeah, just cover your mic, that's all.
I'll do it better.
Let's see. Adult themes, adult language, so you're advised. I have to say that. We don't really use any cuss words here or anything. And we're all inclusive here. We cater to men, women, and all the points in between, all 57 genders. You're all welcome here. Use any bathroom you want, just wash your damn hands, I don't care. And defund the police? No, defend the cops. Come on, man. I mean, do people know anybody that are cops? It's, they have to deal with the dregs of society. And I'll tell you what, when you're out there in the middle of nowhere, your car smashed, so some deer has turned your radiator into a friggin' honeycomb, and you're sitting there all piled into a tree or something, you'll be real damn happy to see the cops show up, because they get there before the EMTs even do. And but we're the Bronze Age invisible sky god. He's going to beat you and forgive you, and beat you and forgive you, and beat you and forgive you. And you know the way that goes. Oh, and this is a link to the side effects of the vaccine. I asked them to put a link to this on the Vermont Department of Health website, and Dr. Rubberface just says to me, you just gave it out. We don't have to link to it. You just gave it out. Oh, great, yeah. I'm sure somebody's going to watch a whole press conference, wait till the end when I'm speaking, and to get this thing here. Just know what you're getting into, okay? Because one of the side effects of this vaccine listed is death, and here we attack ideas, not people. It's respect. Oh, and speaking of which, right? I'm watching this stupid ass commercial for one of these new diabetes things, right, Philo?
Yeah, okay.
And you know how they list the side effects, and my God, do they ever, right?
Some of them are worse than the darn disease.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, really. And one of the side effects that I noticed was an infection of the perineum.
Oh, that's not good.
No. And Philo, why don't you explain to the boys and girls what the perineum is?
It's part of your private parts that you don't want touched.
Yeah, it's commonly called the taint, because it as the Scots used to say, it taint arse and it taint quim. It's the taint, and imagine if you got an infection, especially if you got short arms and you can barely wipe your butt as it is. If you had a friggin' perineum infection, man, God bless you. I wouldn't want that, wish that on my worst enemy.
Oh, I got a few I would. And you know where I'd start? I'd start with Mitch McTurtle.
I'd start with Fauci.
Well,
Speaking of which, let me get him on the blower. Oh, Doris, hello? Get me that loudmouth Fauci on the horn, would you? Hey, Tony. You and that New York accent, okay? We're getting sick of seeing you all the time, and your stories keep changing, like your herd immunity. And they just caught you admitting that you treat the American people like children, Well, maybe it's time for you to retire. It's like, you're only like, what, 82, Tony? Give it a break. Give us a break. Retire, damn it, later.
By the way, is he 82?
He is, he's up there.
I could find out. I'll just Google him right now.
Yeah, I believe he's at least 80, Philo. And Dianne Feinstein is something like, what, 87 or something? Her brain's going. They were saying that word slipping out of the Senate that she's toast. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know what she's doing. All her work's being done by aides, kind of like Leahy, as a matter of fact, whose own wife won't let him operate the wood stove when he comes home. So what's that tell you? I'll tell you what, Philo, a couple times I've
Okay, I got a, whoops. I turned the mic down so I could look this up.
Yeah,
Fauci is 78.
78. And I don't care. It's not the age so much that bothers me. It's his friggin' attitude, okay? Now, when we were kids, Philo, you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis and the atom bomb scares and stuff. It wasn't so bad where Philo grew up because he was up here and halfway up Vermont. But I was close to Boston, and we knew we were toast if we ever got zapped, right? Or bombed. And Fauci says, yeah, he gets on TV and he says, yeah, I went up to the North Pole and I vaccinated Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It's like, what? Could you imagine someone during the Cuban Missile Crisis coming up and said, well, I went up to the North Pole and I made sure that Santa and his elves had a NORAD-approved bomb shelter so that all the elves could be safe and make toys and wouldn't have to worry about a nuclear explosion. What the hell's going on here, man?
Well, you do know that Springfield was on Hitler's bombing list.
Oh yeah, they had so many precision manufacturing.
Yep, we did. We weren't high on the list, but we were on it.
Yeah, and all went to China thanks to the Democrats and the the Democrats and the Republicrats.
Yeah, one sucks and one blows.
yeah, and the only one who warned us was Barney. And
do you realize he was the only one? The only one to fight Obama over the TPP.
And he got screwed twice, 2 times.
That's why the Democrats will never get my vote again.
And who do they put up this time? My God, I mean, it's as if they found somebody more corrupt than Hillary. Okay, at least with the Clinton Foundation, they had the pretense of taking in money to help poor people in other countries, Philo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was their pretense. I mean, there was a lot of administrative costs involved, I mean, you need a lot of people on that salary, friends and relatives and stuff like that. But they operated an idea that they were helping people. The only person that Joe Biden has helped is himself. And hopefully we can throw in that clip where he actually says, we've shown you the clip where he threatened the Russian prosecutor in the censorship. Oh, don't get me going. But before we get to that, this election was stolen. It's obvious as can be. And I doubt this will, if the algorithms at Google will probably pull it. But I have a copy right here, thanks to Bernie Sanders, of course. A copy of the Constitution, all right? Now let's take you to, I believe it is Article 2, Section 1. No, yeah, Article 2, Section 1. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature may direct, thereof may direct, a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives, but no senator holding office shall be appointed an elector. But the electors, each state shall appoint as the manner the legislature directs, okay? The legislature, not not a friggin' a board of elections, not a mayor, not a county commissioner, not a governor, okay? And I was just telling Philo what happened in Georgia, okay? There's that woman, Stumpy Abrams, who still hasn't conceded. She lost by 50,000 votes and still thinks she's the governor of Georgia or whatever. So anyway, Stumpy Abrams has a sister on the bench. And she brought a lawsuit against the state of Pennsylvania. Now, mind you, I lived in Pennsylvania, okay? This is how serious they take elections. When you, excuse me, I got the COVID. When you go to vote in Pennsylvania, okay, you write down, you have to, they have your name and address, right? And then you have to sign right next to where, you know, your info, Philo.
Yep.
You have to sign your name, okay? And that signature has to match the signature that they have on file or on your driver's license or whatever, okay? The signature has to match before you can vote. And it's like that in a lot of states, all right? So Stumpy knows that she can't get bums and hobos and vacant lots to vote, you know, if there's a signature verification. So what she does is she sues the state of Georgia. And where does the lawsuit go to? Her own sister's courtroom. Does her sister, who was appointed as a federal judge by Obama, and does her sister recuse herself? Does she say, well, I can't oversee a lawsuit that's brought by my own sister? That would be, you know, that would be a conflict of interest, right, Philo?
What if she hated her sister?
We could only wish, right? So anyways, what does she do? She says it's no problem. And what was the lawsuit about, boys and girls, before we get to that? The lawsuit came out. They wanted to disqualify something like 6,000 people in this county because the 6,000 people had notified the post office of a change of address to another state, okay? They went down to the post office, filled out the form, said, look, I'm moving to South Carolina, or I'm moving to Alabama, or I'm moving down to Florida, you know? And so they said, well, all right, you got to disqualify these voters because they notified the post office that they've moved out of state. And what does Stumpy's sister do? Says, well, just because they went down to the post office and notified them that they were moving doesn't mean that they're, you know, that they really, you know, that they moved, Philo. And it's stuff like that that went on in state after state. We're talking. That's why this. Everybody knows this election was stolen. It wasn't. It wasn't. There's the boys right there. My favorite mutts, tails wagging, running around, having fun. You know, I mean, these people knew that this was wrong, and it went to Arizona, Wisconsin. Not so much Minnesota, I think, but there's 6 states, all right, where it was just blatant fraud, and we know it, and it's like 40% of the American people believe that it was fraudulent, and that's a poll of everyone. Okay, if you poll just Republicans, it's something like 85% believe it was fraudulent. And why? Because some of us actually watched the hearings on YouTube. You can go see them, where over 1,100 people signed affidavits. They have video, for crying out loud. Oh, he's sleeping. Let's go back to the real dogs. So they know this election was stolen. And it's stolen by a guy so crooked. If this guy were not running for vice president, he would not be able to get a security clearance because of the crooked business deals that he's done in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kakistan, you name it, Stan. And his kid, my God, And remember during the debates, Philo? During the debates, Trump says, well, what about the crooked deals with your son Hunter and the laptop and stuff? And Biden comes out and says, well, there'd been over 50 intelligence officials who signed a letter and said that was Russian disinformation. And it turns out after the election, lo and behold, he's under indictment for tax fraud and other stuff. This is just the beginning. The stuff on the laptop is not only real, it's actually worse than what we've heard because it involves pornography that seems to involve underage girls, Philo. But that's okay. That's okay because it was censored, and this is what kills me. And we're being censored, our stuff is being censored here, and it's being censored locally and nationally. But luckily, there's a ray of hope, and Philo printed this up for me, thank God for small favors. Down in Stamford, I don't know if you folks know this, but way down, I almost bought a home in Stamford. It was a real crappy house, but the land was nice. It was 7 acres right off the Long Trail, Philo.
Yeah.
And it was on the south side of a hill overlooking the big valley. There's a big valley between the hills outside of Bennington and there's another set of hills, and then there's North Adams, Massachusetts. And Stamford is in this beautiful valley, and I should have bought the place because, I could have set up, showers and stuff for Long Trail hikers because the Appalachian Trail is still there. The Appalachian Trail doesn't split off until up, like Killington or something? I believe that's where it splits and goes into New Hampshire. But anyways, here's what the law says about states of emergency, okay, boys and girls? And make sure you watch for Spike because he has a cameo in here that's really cool. Spike was one hell of a dog, man. He was a dog's dog. He was more like a cat than a dog. He wasn't quite as affectionate as Sappy over here. Sappy's Mac is always like lapping your face, and well, yeah, when he's not passed out.
Did you get him drunk or stoned?
Neither.
Oh, okay.
And he was just excited after the ride in, I guess.
Hey, he's zoned out.
Yeah, but Spike has a cameo in here. But anyways, the state of emergency, right? Title 20, Section 13, Paragraph 3 says that the governor, upon receiving notice that a majority of the legislative body of town affected by a natural disaster no longer desires the state of emergency continue, shall declare the emergency terminated within that particular municipality. Upon the termination of the state of emergency, the functions as set forth shall cease, and local authorities shall resume control. Now, what part of that doesn't the governor get, Philo?
Well, they're probably going to say that they didn't declare, oh, hey.
There's Spiky.
That's Spike?
Yep.
Oh, he was so young looking then, wasn't he?
Oh, man, yeah.
They're probably going to say that, well, this is not like a natural disaster like a flood or a fire, and we can do this. And you know what they'll do? They'll have their lawyers screw this over for years. It's true. The lawyers will get involved, and it'll just be one big cluster bomb.
Well, one of the things I was talking with Philo about was if the Vermont League of Cronies and Tyrants will actually defend them on this. Because that's what happened when we sued the village of North Troy. They were violating laws left and right, open meeting laws, this law, that law. And so we brought them into court. And, because as anybody who's gone to court knows, you have to learn a whole different language to go to court. I mean, you practically need to learn Latin, and then you have to learn procedure. And you can't just walk in and ask the judge, I want to show the evidence, Your Honor, here it is. This is why this is our case. Oh, no. So what do? They get this high-powered, the Vermont League of Cronies, and now mind you, in the old days, you had to write, when you took your oath of office for a local official, when you took your oath of office, there's Mac. When you took your oath of office,
What a handsome devil.
yeah, he was a lot less gray, huh?
Oh, boy, like the rest of us.
And you had to sign a form saying that if you broke the law, if you broke the law and got caught breaking the law, that the Vermont League of Cronies and Tyrants wouldn't represent you because, hey, you were breaking the law, knowingly or unknowingly. If you were breaking the law, they wouldn't defend you.
And they even wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Well, now, it doesn't matter. You're breaking the law, you're not breaking the law. Hey, they want the business because, what's the first thing everybody learns about lawyers, Philo?
They obfuscate.
Billable hours.
Yep.
That's the first thing you learn about the law is billable hours.
And they'll do anything to get as many hours in as possible.
Yeah, and who cares? They don't care if the locals are breaking the law. So I'm wondering if the Vermont League of Cronies and Tyrants will defend the town of Stamford. Because what they all do, it's a pool, it's a risk pool. They all pay in. And anyways, 3 of the 5 board members supported the motion, saying they'd follow most of the emergency orders, but they don't. But not any of they believe trample on rights guaranteed in both state and the federal Constitution. Let's see. And they got attorney Deb Buckman of Walden. I think that's the girl that Peter was talking about. It is. And they said they met with her in executive session. She'd agreed to represent Stamford if the governor rejects the contention. And they should have gone to the Leagues of Cronies and Tyrants first. But she said she would do it free because she feels that strongly about it. Rebecca Kelly, Director of Communications for Scott's office. Oh, speaking of which, she put me last in line again, Philo.
We're the last in line.
Yeah, I was last in the press line at the news conference again yesterday. You know why? Because last week, as a joke, just as a joke, they had always put me last, dead last in the list of reporters, right? Doesn't matter. Channel 3 gets 3 reporters. The other TV station, they get 2 or 3 reporters. Vermont Digger gets 2 or 3 reporters with 2 to 3 questions each. But yours truly, oh no, I get 2 questions max, and they put me at the end of the list. So just as a joke last week, I says to her, I said, oh, by the way, I wanted to thank Rebecca for not putting me last in line this week. And I said, Rebecca, just make sure you don't cash the check until next Monday. Well, I guess she didn't find that humorous at all. Rebecca Kelly said the governor's counsel, J. Person Johnson, governor's counsel, are you kidding me? This woman might as well be governor for all we know. She does like all of the work from what we hear at the gossip in the State House, Philo. And I've heard this. That's another thing about being an investigator now is I've gotten to know a whole bunch of these reporters. They actually email me, Philo, and give me like pats on the back for asking the questions that I do.
Don't any of them have enough guts to ask those questions?
Only one that I know.
I bet it isn't VT Digger either.
No, Guy Page. Guy Page is about the only other one. And there's one other guy I can't mention because he works for a service that, he's not like self-employed like Guy is. Rebecca even accused me and Guy of working in tandem when we questioned the governor's anti-graffiti policy. She says, since you two seem to be working in tandem, blah blah blah, and with this Black Lives Matter crap, and that's another thing is the hypocrisy. We're told we can't go to a wedding, we can't go to a funeral, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't have Thanksgiving, Christmas, none of that crap, right? But boy, oh boy, if you want to have a friggin' protest against the evils of Whitey, okay, because everybody know Whitey be evil. If you want to have a protest, a BLM protest, this protest, that protest, if you want to have a protest, you can gather as close as you want. And even set up tents right across the street from the friggin' the lakefront. Don't get me going. Rebecca said Jay's looked into this, and she has affirmed that they can't terminate the state of emergency because the totality of the law makes clear the governor's orders have the force of law, and they can't take action inconsistent with the governor's general direction and control of an emergency. Well, here's the thing. The governor's orders do not have the force of law. If you read the Vermont Constitution, the whole thing, only a law written by the legislature, passed in the legislature, and signed by the governor becomes law, okay? The rest are just orders. They are unenforceable. They can send the goons down to a local store and say, hey, look, you know, if you, this Spiky, what a good dog he was. And they can send the goons down and intimidate people. They can threaten to shut off your power or take your liquor license or whatever. But you know they can't really enforce it because it doesn't have the force of law. At least two other sections counter her argument. The towns and cities of the states designated or appointed by the governor are authorized to make and rescind such orders as may be necessary for the emergency management purposes to supplement carrying out the provision, but not inconsistent with any orders, rules, or regulations promulgated by the governor of any state agency exercising a power delegated to by him or her. Oh, sure. All right. So I guess my next question for the governor is going to be, Governor, when you pose for your State House portrait, will you be wearing a Roman toga and laurels on your head? Anyways, a month-long debate. Let's see, the governor's orders. It doesn't make sense to me. The speakers, the governor's orders violated the Constitution, have been reasonable in the face of a pandemic. Oh, sure they have. It don't make sense to me at all. In fact, it horrifies me. I don't think anything is being done that doesn't comply with the Constitution. Oh, said some Karen that they went out and interviewed. Because, you know, it's like, oh, you better wear your mask. If you don't, you're endangering people. Well, that mask is about as useless as my magic Masonic ring here. My magic Masonic ring has as much power to keep the COVID bug away as does one of these stupid masks. They're not made to filter out any virus particles. It's a joke.
As useless as our governor.
Yeah. Like we've said before, it's like using chain link fence. Anyways.
We're gonna keep those mosquitoes out with that, by gosh.
Yeah. Especially if we electrify it. That way we'll get some of them on the way in. Some of it, let's see, the second, the local board is cited in the law provision cited by Attorney Buckman in a column. Oh, here we are. Bill Levine, another Levine, Philo. Hey!
Wow.
They're going to rename the Green Mountains the Jewish Alps, Philo.
Something like that, I think.
Bill Levine, the town's emergency management coordinator, a town of the size of Stamford needs an emergency management coordinator?
Right. Yep.
Said he checked with both the Secretary of State and the Vermont League of Cronies and Tyrants, and each advised that the board check with its legal counsel before declaring the orders terminated. Oh, you think? Well, why isn't the VLTC down there defending them? What are they paying them dues for, Philo?
Oh, I could mention a couple of things that wouldn't be very nice, though. It'd be kind of vulgar.
They've argued it's not an emergency given the low number of deaths. three deaths in Bennington County. Others argued that it borders Massachusetts, which has had 11,000 deaths. Well, here's the thing about the deaths, too. We're being lied to because only between 6 and 16% are from COVID only. The rest, and I have a clip for this, too. Hopefully we'll put it on next week's show. I'll ask Todd to take it out of my camera. Anything and everything. If you're in hospice, if you have cancer, you're dying, they've given you 3 weeks to live. You go into hospice care, if you die and you test positive for the virus, boom, it's a COVID death. It's classified as a COVID death. If you get into a car accident tomorrow, smash into a tree, your heart stops. They can't jumpstart you at the scene or at the hospital, and you test positive, boom, that's a COVID death.
Why are they even testing if you're dead?
You'd think, right?
Exactly. It makes no sense at all.
Oh, man. In addition, 4 people died in the past day. Again, they don't, they stopped listing the age. The average ages, Philo. If you go on their stupid website, they stopped listing the ages of the people who are dying. I'll have to go to the CDC and see if I can get them there.
Oh, no, they'll inflate those numbers.
Submitted along with the petition were quotes about resisting tyranny. The quotes were read to the board by John Popfin. Among them was, "Who will govern the governors? There is only one force that can be depended upon to keep the governor pure and honest, and that's the people themselves. They alone, if well informed, are capable of preventing the corruption of power and restoring the nation, town, city, whatever, to its rightful course if it should go astray. The people alone are the safest depository of the ultimate powers of government." The petition also states that neither the legislature nor any judicial officer may disregard the provisions of the Constitution. No kind of emergency, perceived threat, or suspect danger is reason to usurp our rights and liberties. A lot of people feel their rights are threatened and may be threatened again in the future. Well, yeah, when they tell you that they allow a big box store to stay open, okay, the big-ass Walmart from China, China Inc., when they allow that store to be open, when everything is being sent to Scamazon, because all the little, they've shut down all the little businesses, and the restaurants are going under left and right because of these stupid rules, even though they've shown that only between 1% to 3% of transmission, the virus transmission, comes from restaurants. They've shut down indoor dining, and they're going back to lockdowns. And you look at non-lockdown states like Florida, and their rates are no higher or lower than the lockdown states. As a matter of fact, they're actually lower right now than I think in California.
But if you ask the press will blow this up like it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Terry can verify this. I have never seen anything like this with the press in my life. I mean, it started with Trump, and it's just going on and on. No matter what you think about Trump, they went into that Russian crap for 4 years. 4 years of Russian crap, and find out it's not true. They buried the stuff about Biden. They're jacking the numbers up with this COVID stuff. They're scaring the crap out of people.
I know you got people now that are near death because they're so depressed they don't even dare leave their house.
Yeah.
Failure to thrive.
Yep. And the same thing with nursing home deaths. They're more and more of them are dying from failure to thrive.
I know several people who were in their like late 70s and 80s who were so scared that they've canceled everything and they won't leave their house, and they're a nervous wreck.
Well, it's like Swamp Viking. He's fallen for the crap because he listens to nothing but NPR.
Yeah, I've lost all respect for them too.
And you know what I call it, Philo? It's called the first heart attack syndrome, right? I don't know if you've ever known anybody when they have their first heart attack.
Yeah.
It's like they're so scared of having another heart attack that it's like they won't do anything. You know what I mean? They're scared to go out. They're scared to walk. They're scared to have sex. They're scared of everything because it's the first heart attack syndrome.
But they're not too scared to push the booze, are they?
Oh, especially we got to keep the abortion clinics are open. The liquor stores are open.
I went down to Domino's probably a month ago,
Yeah.
and they would not let me in the lobby. They brought my pizza out to me. And I said, the lobby's closed. He says, yeah, you can't come in. I said, what about those guys over there? They just got out of their car and went into the lobby. Oh, they went over to the liquor store.
Yeah, that's right. The liquor store's in the corner. Yeah.
So they went to the liquor store, that's fine, but I couldn't go in to get my pizza.
Isn't that insane?
Well, that's Vermont for you.
Oh, it's the press for you, Philo. Okay? All right. Now, here's some stories. We're wondering, it's like, where are these stories, okay? Where's the story about Eric Swalwell? Remember that jackass that ran for president for about 10 minutes?
I don't remember him.
Yeah, Swalwell. Smallwell. He's some no-count junior, what do you call it, congressman from California, right? He's on the Intelligence Committee, Philo, and it seems like he'd been hanging around and having relations, they say, with a Chinese spy named, it was like two names, like, oh God, what the hell's her name? Oh God, it's like Screw or something like that. Two screws. And not only that, but she got him an intern to work for free in his office too. That is reportedly got links to the Chinese Communist Party also. Where's the thing about? Where's the story about Swalwell? And Pelosi's keeping him on the Intel Committee, even though he's been busted with a Chinese spy. And taking donations from the commie Chinese. Oh, that's okay, right? Where's the story about the drop boxes? Here's the thing, boys and girls. Years ago, you remember this, Philo, right? The United Nations. This was in the 80s, right? The United Nations wanted to set up an accountability thing where they could send someone to different countries to make sure that their elections were free and fair elections, right?
Well, that goes over real well in North Korea.
Yeah, well, excepting a few dictatorships in communist China. But for most countries, and who did they put in charge of that operation, Philo? Do you remember?
Oh, in the 80s? No, it wasn't Rumsfeld.
No, Jimmy Carter.
Oh, wow, okay.
Remember
well,
Jimmy Carter at the United Nations? He went to Venezuela. He went to every place, right? Because like Trump, it's not. Carter doesn't have that much money. Carter never cared about money. I mean, he's a real religious guy, and he just doesn't care about money. He's got enough money. He doesn't need any money, right? And it's kind of like the same thing with Trump. Trump has his own money. Sure, he's a blowhard, big mouth booster. There's a whole bunch of things wrong with Trump. But one of the things is they can't buy him off, and he doesn't threaten easy. But anyways, they set up the commission, and they would send Jimmy Carter around all over the place, Zimbabwe, South Africa. I mean, everywhere Jimmy Carter went to supervise these elections. And what did Jimmy Carter's commission, what was the number one avenue for fraud, Philo? Was mail-in or not voting in person. That was the number one avenue for fraud and ballot stuffing, was not voting in person, all right? So what did they do? They started the lawsuits long before this COVID virus came out. They started suing state after state. because they knew that the only way they could win was by cheating. And so they had these drop boxes, ballot stuffing. There was no cameras watching the drop boxes. How many got dropped in? How many got dropped out? What happened to that story? And all these states that entered into settlement agreements. We showed you the Constitution where it says, you know, who has the authority? Only the legislature has the authority to change election laws. Not some pissant elections commissioner. Anyways, what happened to that story? All right. What about the rejection rates? They used to have a rejection rate between, I don't know, something like 3 and 10% ballot rejection rate, you know, in states. Either you voted for two people, you know what I mean? There was always something where you didn't sign it. You didn't, there was always a rejection rate. It ran about between 5 and 10%, right, Philo? Well, what happened to the rejection rate? It's kind of like the flu this year. We have no flu deaths. We have no flu at all. Last year we had, I don't know how many hundreds or 1,000 flu cases in Vermont. We had 225 cases of H1N1. Was it bird flu or swine flu, whatever?
Yep.
Last year?
Yep.
Now this year we have none?
Well, you know, we got good medicine now, and it's essentially, if we can convince you that it's not there, then we've done our job. But to be fair to the elections people, these mail-in ballots were overdone. I'll agree with you. But also in some states, certain Mitch McTurtle state that won't be mentioned here, they were trying to shut down polling places to make it harder to vote.
Philo and I will have to agree to disagree. All right, this is one thing. Like I said, when I lived in Pennsylvania, you needed a signature verification. I mean, this is an important thing. Fortunately, we live in Vermont, where damn near everybody knows everybody else. You go in, they know who you are. The clerk knows who you are. You don't have to do a signature verification because they know it's you, right? Yeah, it's Loudmouth Merrill from up the street, you know? the big guy with the little dogs, you know. But in other states, you need verification. Otherwise, you got dead people voting. You have.
Oh, they had that in Chicago under Richard Daley.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that goes back to the Kennedy, for crying out loud, 1960.
Yeah, you had that with Richard Daley out in Chicago when he ran that place.
Well, yeah, and that's what they did this year in Philadelphia, Philo. Why do you think they stopped counting and they kicked out people? Why would they kick out the observers? Why would they put tape over the windows? Oh, we don't want the convid bug to come in here. You're getting too close. You can't look at what we're doing. You know, it's like Jesus. And here's the thing. What they did is they waited until the votes came in from the country, and then they said, oh, okay, so we need X amount of votes to beat those guys, so they wind up ballot stuffing. This is an important thing. We're gonna need to either show. It's like the same thing happened in Vermont. Remember, they said we're gonna issue a Vermont ID because we have 2,000 farm workers, Philo, and they need a non-driver's driver's license, right? So what they did was they passed a law and decided to give these guys a picture ID, right? They figured that they would need roughly 2,000 of these to satisfy it. So we would, so they'd be able to drive, even though they don't take driver's tests or whatever, right? So do you know how many they wound up issuing?
Probably way more than 10,000, right?
40,000. They expected 2,000. They issued 40,000. So a couple of intrepid reporters went out and checked on the addresses of where these people applied from, Philo. They listed their homes as pizza joints, post office boxes, vacant lots, a deli, a gas station, You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You want to vote, you got to.
Well, here's the thing, people are too lazy to actually get out and vote.
Yeah, we're supposed to believe that 80 million people came out to vote for Joe Biden? We're supposed to believe that? I don't think so.
I'd believe most anything now.
Oh, man.
Like I said, in some places, they've tried to suppress the vote, and they've taken down polling places. So it sort of, for me, it cuts both ways. I see fraud both ways.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about polling places. That's the thing you do between elections. If you want, what happens is they cut down on polling places as the population diminishes. You know, if you get a burnt out city block, you know, you're not going to have a polling place on every corner. If the population increases, you should have more places to vote. You know what I mean? It's common sense. And what happened to Trump's veto of the $732 billion defense bill, where he wanted to pull the troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq? Oh, that was one thing that both parties agreed on, Philo. Both parties, the red team and the blue team, both agreed that we were not going to stop the wars no matter what the president did. So they overrode his veto. Funny how that one works, isn't it?
Yeah. We like war.
Oh, yeah, it's profitable. It's profitable, you know. Fauci slightly encouraged by vaccination numbers. Oh, that just warms the cockles of my heart, doesn't it, Philo?
He's going to drag this thing out for 1 to 5 years. I guarantee it.
And here's another thing. I've never seen anything like this, not even with Richard Nixon. Not even with Richard Nixon, who, I mean, the press hated Nixon. I mean, they hated him. On Sunday morning, Trump falsely tweeted that the outbreak has been far exaggerated because the CDC, because of their ridiculous methodology. Well, their methodology is ridiculous. We just told you that they admit on their website that anybody who dies of anything and tests positive for COVID is listed as a COVID death. Yet this reporter inserts this. Trump falsely tweeted that the outbreak has been far exaggerated. It has been exaggerated. All right, I don't know if you got a calculator, Philo, but they say there's, 320,000 deaths so far now?
This'll do it.
All right, 320,000 deaths. So what's 16% of 320,000?
Let me get out my gonculator.
300.
300, you said 320,000?
Yeah.
Okay, and you want 16%?
Yeah.
Times 0.16. 51,200.
So, in reality, we've only lost a little over 50,000 people of COVID only.
Directly, yes.
Thanks, Philo.
And
To
get
COVID
this,
only.
It was on Facebook. Everybody was saying, "Oh no, Dawn Wells died." You remember Dawn Wells?
Yeah, well, first they said she died. Then she said she was hospitalized. Not Dawn Wells. What's the other one? Tanya Roberts.
No. Well, Dawn Wells supposedly died of COVID, and it turned out she had stage 4 cancer. And
Well,
she
but
was
she-
and
but
she was
tested
82.
Positive, right?
Yeah, that wasn't what killed her. The stage 4 cancer killed her.
Yeah. Yeah, here we are. Republican lawmakers aim at mail-in voting. Again, we told you what Jimmy Carter said. Jimmy Carter says that the biggest obstacle to free and fair elections is anything but showing up and voting. Oh, female Army sergeant found fatally shot on a Texas highway. She was a drill sergeant, Jessica Mitchell. Get this, Philo, right? Yet she was 30 years old. Yet later in the article it says she was a dental specialist. So which was it? Was she a drill sergeant
Well, yeah, she had to drill.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
As
right?
as a dentist, she had to use a drill, right?
She was a drill sergeant, all right. Oh, man. This guy was a firecracker. The guy who invented the dumpster, Philo, his name was Dempster.
Dempster.
Yeah, he invented it as something for the Navy in World War II to move stuff or get rid of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then it took off. He saw the applications, and he came up with a concept while doing construction. It was designed to be used in rock quarries, and it was used by the military in World War II, which turned to him for Navy pontoon boats. Soon they became part of everyone's lives. And get this is one of my favorite quotes. He once described it as his opponent as the only man I know who can strut sitting down. And get this one, Philo. When he was 72 years old, he was dragged 50 feet after tackling the driver of a convertible who was driving wild and out of control on South 22nd Street in Knoxville. What a hot ticket. 72 years old. Get out of that car, you're driving like a maniac. F you, old man. Oh, yeah? He drove in, man. He drove in. In 1961, the kids at Wake Forest University found the dumpsters disgusting, and it caused a sanitation problem and had an offensive odor. It draws flies. So they set the dumpster on fire and gleefully watched with excitement as the trucks came roaring to put the fire out. So that's where the dumpster fire came from. Yeah, unbelievable. I hope Trump pardons Julian Assange. The judge already voted to not to extradite him. Oh, get this. D.C. Mayor, she's already declared a 6 o'clock curfew for tonight because of all the pro-Trump protesters down there, and she's calling in the National Guard. But she didn't do any of that when the Black Lives Matter people were down there setting churches on fire and toppling over statues, Philo.
That's a different story here.
Yeah, I guess, setting churches on fire and pulling down statues, that's just, it's a black thing. So we're okay with that. Oh, and here we are again. To bolster the president's unproven claims of widespread voter fraud, go on YouTube. If you got the time, go on YouTube, watch the testimony of the people. Oh, and here we are. This one is this day in history. 1972, on January 5th, President Richard Nixon announced that he had ordered development of the space shuttle. That was in 1972, right? I was a freshman, sophomore in trade school, Philo.
Yeah, I was just out of college, a 2-year college in 72. 1 year out.
So Nixon comes out, and he was announced the development of the space shuttle in 72. Little did I know that in 1979, a mere 7 years later, that I would be making the parts, the flex joints for the fuel lines for every space shuttle that ever flew. How's that for having fun, boys and girls?
Not bad job at all. I bet it was paid pretty well, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even it was a non-union shop, too, Philo.
Wow, go figure.
Yeah. And the tolerances, that stuff was made out of Inconel, that wild-ass stainless steel. The tolerances were insane. I could have no more than a 5,000th corner radius, okay? It was like a ball joint that they had to be pressed together, and then they would flex in a vacuum, so that because the motors of the space shuttle moved in space, right? And the fuel lines had to move with them, and some of them were pressurized and stuff, so that a 5,000th corner radius maximum. that means that in the corner of this little section, it could be no more than 5 thousandths of a radius.
And that is the thickness of a human hair.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. It was nuts. It was wild. Trump contradicts aides on cyber attack. And of course, they're blaming the cyber attack on the Russians. Philo.
Ivan.
Here's the thing, boys and girls. When those documents got leaked out from the CIA, what was it, over a year ago or something? They came out and said that it was easy to fake the IP address. You could fake an IP address so that you could be operating a computer in Nigeria and make it look like you were that it was the emails or the hack was coming from Tokyo. You know what I mean? They told us this, all right? Yet somehow we're supposed to believe that it's the Russians. The Russians are bad. You know, I'm going to ask Phil Scott if I still have to look at my woodpile for Russians, Philo.
Well, you know, he might be hiding some there.
I'm telling you, I found a bunch of empty Stolichnaya bottles out there. And unfiltered cigarette butts. I think there's Russians in my woodpile.
Look out for them Russians.
Yeah, well, now that Trump's gone, I guess we'll get the all clear. But they're still bad, man. They're still bad. Oh, man, they play their games. We play ours. What, are you kidding me? It's spy versus spy. It's always been that way. How are we doing on time?
Okay, last but not least.
Last but not
You're
least.
running up close to 57 minutes.
Okay, well, we got a Newport Daily thing. Man allegedly involved in Newport shooting faces federal drug charges. And it looks like it could be a father and son thing, Philo.
Could be.
Yeah, because one of the guys, Donta Flowers Jr., a.k.a. Fresh, 27, let's see, he shot Flowers Sr. Yeah, so it is. It's a father and son shooting. What better way to spend the holidays than shooting your father over some crack, Philo?
Isn't it amazing that when you used to get busted for smoking pot, now you can smoke pot, but you can't have people in your house?
Yeah, you just can't do it with friends, that's all.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show, and hopefully we'll see you again next week, inshallah, as the Hebrews say, good Lord willing. And until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, sniff the bum of the guy in the man dressed next to you, head east and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Mikey. You crazy old dog.
Deus Magnus Est.